earliest script precursors appear as commodity markers on pottery and bone tags, associated with Nakada III administrative storage.
Abydos labels display emblematic signs denoting rulers, goods, and orobin sites, connecting script to elite burial management. These symbols operate as proto-logograms, functioning beyond depiction to encode named identity.
The Narma palette integrates early phonetic symbolism within royal iconography, linking script formation to political consolidation.
The Serek formalizes written kingship, divine oversight attached to a built enclosure, asserting centralized identity.
Early writing primarily documents redistribution, quantifying goods entering palatial and mortuary supply networks.
Collective signs acquire phonetic function, representing consonantal sequences rather than referential imagery. Proto-hieroglyphic inscriptions show semantic determinatives, clarifying categories without contributing sound.
These labels remain non-grammatical. They list names, quantities, and geographic markers without sentence structure.
Writing emerges as an administrative instrument during state formation, encoding authority rather than language expression. Old Egyptian script is primarily monumental, restricted to elite funerary and royal contexts, rather than broad literacy.
The pyramid texts constitute the earliest extensive written corpus, created exclusively for royal mortuary transformation. These inscriptions serve as ritual instruments, intended to activate transformation into an effective spirit, or Ach.
Semantic determinatives formalize classification, marking professions, actions, and places without contributing phonetic value.
Old Egyptian introduces structured verbal morphology, including the stative for states of being,
and suffix conjugations for action.
Plurality is expressed through the tripling of signs or strokes, a convention sustained throughout Egyptian history. Hieratic emerges as a cursive form for papyrus, enabling faster writing and increasing administrative reach. Autobiographical inscriptions record virtue and service, expanding written identity beyond royal individuals.
Scribes occupy a defined social class, controlling textual production and performing state administration.
Monumental writing frames kingship as cosmic governance, linking political authority to divine order and cosmic stability. Middle Egyptian becomes a written language as the preferred form of literature and ritual expression. Narratives display complex prose, thematic introspection, and political commentary regarding exile and loyalty. Didactic texts, like the instructions of Ptahhotep, articulate social ethics,
offering guidance on speech, humility, justice, and hierarchy. Coffin texts expand funerary literature from royal exclusivity to non-royal elites, democratizing access to afterlife formulas.
with several hundred documented hieroglyphic forms. The period displays the largest functional repertoire of written signs. Narratives present internal conflict, personal choice, and moral uncertainty rarely seen in earlier texts.
Middle Egyptian integrates earlier ritual formula into hymns and prayers.
Reinterpreting archaic liturgy through literary style.
Hieratic functions as the daily administrative script, distinguishing literature from practical communication.
Middle Egyptian remains a prestige written form long after it ceases to match spoken language, preserved in tradition by liturgy and the education of the nation.
Late Egyptian reflects changes in everyday speech, introducing articles, new verb forms, and spoken idioms into writing.
Official letters tell stories, conveying personal reasoning and emotion to support legal or political claims.
Written correspondence mediates requests, disputes, and obligations.
Functioning as negotiation between individuals and institutions.
Contracts are recited aloud before witnesses, linking spoken affirmation to written authority.
Legal appeals document inheritance disagreements, reflecting reliance on written petitions for justice.
Laborers file written protests about delayed wages and rations, demonstrating literacy as a tool of collective action.
Debts formalized in writing impose social obligation, allowing documentation to enforce public accountability. The report of Wenamun is a diplomatic account, highlighting trade disputes and diminishing Egyptian influence.
Legal authority is shared through local councils, where reading aloud validates written evidence before community.
Late Egyptian writing reflects lived experience, capturing negotiations, conflicts, and economic activity in the language of daily speech.
Demotic script develops into a highly cursive system optimized for speed, enabling extensive archives and bureaucratic record-keeping.
Temple libraries preserve legal, historical, economic, and ritual manuscripts.
Stored systematically in sealed baskets and clay-labeled bundles.
Collections are indexed by seal type and tag inscription, functioning as an early catalog system.
Under Ptolemaic rule, bilingual archives emerge, distinguishing Demotic and Greek. Demotic for native civic record, and Greek for international and royal transactions.
Scribes act as intermediaries between state authority and temple administration,
Controlling information through selective copying and access.
Legal compendia compile formulaic clauses, enabling scribes to replicate standardized contracts and court proceedings. Archives preserve economic continuity, taxation, land rights, and debt histories beyond a single generation.
Offering a rare glimpse into institutional knowledge.
The Tebtunis Library preserves a diverse corpus of temple, civic, medical, and literary texts. Document retrieval by non-scribes demonstrates public dependence on written archival authority. Temple archives transmit linguistic structures and administrative logic into Coptic, securing a multi-century continuity of Egyptian document culture. Monastic scribes modify the Greek alphabet by adding Demotic-derived letters to represent Egyptian phonology.
Biblical texts are translated into Coptic, allowing liturgy to be conducted in speech spoken by native Christians. Unlike previous scripts, Coptic writes vowels, providing a transparent representation of Egyptian speech.
Scriptoria operate through a regulated process of reading aloud, transcription, and correction for accuracy. Codices from Nag Hammadi preserve non-canonical Christian works, copied by monastic groups engaged in diverse theological dialogue.
Monks exchange letters addressing supplies, family matters, spiritual advice, and agricultural requests.
Monasteries preserve property contracts and tax documents, functioning as trustees for local communities.
Coptic manuscripts include liturgical texts alongside medical recipes and agricultural schedules.
After the 7th century, Arabic becomes the civic administrative language, though
Coptic remains active in religious and clerical contexts.
Coptic endures, preserving nearly 4 millennia of Egyptian linguistic heritage through ritual continuity.